Hey, Sarah, how are you? How was your weekend?
What's up? So good. So good. The weather's beautiful and got my gazebo up, so spending a lot of time outside now so the bugs don't take me away.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Welcome back, guys, to Mindset Theory. We're so excited to have you here today. We are going to talk about a really amazing topic, the truth that sets you free. The truth that sets you free. So, we were reading the book, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Goddard?
hmm Yeah, Goddard.
So
You
good.
know, I love this topic, and it always reminds me of the movie Liar Liar, where Jim Carrey at the end is, "And the truth will set you free," and he's so dramatic at the end. And I love this topic because it's so true, and it's you. You are the truth.
Yes, absolutely. Um, I mean, it's really that simple when you think about it, right? Everything lies within us.
Everything. So if you don't imagine yourself other than what you currently are, you remain the same. And I didn't understand that until I was studying this work, until I was studying mindset, until I got into Bob Proctor's program, until I hired a mentor and started reading all these books that completely opened my mind. That I was I was creating my reality of being broke and depressed based on what I was imagining in my mind, right? Because I
Mhm.
was imagining being so broke that I was going to lose my house. I was imagining not having money for Christmas. And those things were happening.
I was gonna say that's what happens, right? That we whatever we ask for, we receive, and it says here in the book. However, the only fate governing your life is the fate determined by your own concepts, your own assumptions. For an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
so true, right? Whatever you assume to be true or assume to be false is what you're giving your thought to and what you're still giving your attention to. And it's just going to harden into that.
yeah, it's the law of assumption,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, the law of assumption would be you use two ways. You can assume the worst or you can assume the best. So Bob Proctor talks about this. He talks about the art of acting, which is a book. You guys should go check it out by Stella Adler. And what it is you know, actors and actresses assume the character that they're playing. They're not actually those people, right? They assume those characters. They assume the traits of those characters. So if you assume the traits of how the wealthy show up, how the wealthy think, how the wealthy talk, and you assume those, it becomes part of your new characteristic. So that's the beauty part of the law of assumption, is that you can create a new identity based on borrowing characteristics from another identity.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we move through life, right? We especially when you look up to somebody like a mentor or like an idol, right? As a child you had an idol, somebody you looked up to and you're like, "Oh my god, I love everything about them. I want to be that person. They inspire me, they motivate me." That's the exact same thing, right? When you're looking at that and you see characteristics and attributes in somebody that you love, you want to take those on. You love them for a reason, right?
Yeah. So another thing that Neville talks about is you have to your desire in life, whatever it is that you desire in life, your goals, your wishes, your dream, it has to be the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Okay, so you have to feel it. So um all of these meditative teachers, so Joe Dispenza, Sadhguru, Vishnu Lakhiani, Jay Shetty, everybody that I've been listening to, we as coaches, Kaily, you and I, we push I ams, right? I am powerful. I am wealthy. We push I am affirmations. That's what we call them. But if you don't feel it, if you don't feel powerful, if you don't feel like you're the master of your destiny, the wish won't come true. You have to feel it as the wish is already fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. That's like one of the biggest things I've came to realize these past year and a half is that in order to step in it like fully and take action fully is that you have to feel it fully.
Yeah.
You have to fully take like take ownership to mold into it, right?
Yeah. Because it's one thing to say, I want $1 million. Okay. How would that make you feel? What would you do with it? With that $1 million, what would you do? You'd take your family on vacation, you would donate. And how does that make you feel? You get to make memories. So now it becomes a memory and you get to watch your children's face light up, or maybe your parents. You're taking them onto a trip somewhere they've never been before. So you feel fulfilled. You have that desire for more now because you've created an experience. And that's how you manifest, is you create the experience. So you can manifest anything you want in life. If you guys haven't checked out our episode last Thursday, make sure you go back to it. We talk about how manifesting is actually physics and it's scientifically proven and not woo-woo. So go back and check out that episode. But if you have the wish fulfilled and you create that experience now using your imagination, then you will assume that you are already living in that experience. So you need to form the mental image or the picture of the state that you desire. So however you want to live your life, and the person that you want to be.
That's what it says here, Sarah. It says, you must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. That is, you must assume the feeling of the fulfillment of your desire until you are possessed by it. And this feeling crowds all other ideas out of your consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? So crowd your consciousness with the new experience that you want to become.
And here's the thing. It's something that we all possess. It's one of our highest faculties, mental faculties that we have, but we do not use it, but you teach it to your children every single day. And that's your imagination. It is your imagination. And when people are like, oh, I can't imagine, you're like, wow, you must not worry about anything. You must not have any fears or any worries. And they're like, no, I have fears. I have worries. That's using your imagination because you're fearing something that doesn't even exist yet. So you're using your imagination for things that you don't want. What if you were just start imagining what if I had this? Wouldn't it be so amazing if I could get up every morning and just be zen and meditate and know that there's enough money in my bank account for not only my basic needs and necessities, but for all my goals and my dreams, knowing that I'm going to leave this financial legacy for my children and my great-grandchildren for long after that I'm gone, so we can take trips to Bora Bora and we can rent cottages in the middle of the week, and we get to experience life instead of just suffering through it. See how I just used my imagination? Like, this isn't written down anywhere. It literally popped into my head and I created the image. And now here you are on the beach in Bora Bora. You can feel the warm breeze on your face. You can feel the sand between your toes. You can taste the sweat, the salty sweat that's on your lip. You can hear the kids laughing and the seagulls gulling. Like, you can smell the barbecue that's happening. You can smell the sunscreen. This isn't stuff that I just made up. This is my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I did make it up. I just made it up in my head.
Yeah, I know what you were saying.
Yeah.
But we put so much emphasis on it has to be hard. Like, how hard was that, Sarah, just to come up with that vision in your mind?
Not hard at all.
Seconds. Right? That's how easy it really is. We put so much, poor me, life's hard. It has to be hard. It's not ever going to be easy. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be hard to get there. But if you don't put the thoughts out there and start to get into the experience of it in your imagination, it's going to be hard to get there, because I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to, because you're not going to imagine it to want to get there or to know what it's supposed to look like.
So true. And life could either be long and hard or short and sweet. Have you ever heard that saying? Like life is long and hard, short and sweet.
Yeah.
It's long and hard for those who are suffering through life. It's for those, like, I talk to people who, when I worked at the grocery store, and they're like, like, I just want to live to 70. Like, really? That's not a long time. Like, I'm almost 40. That gives me another 30 years. Right? That only gives me 5 years after retirement.
Yeah.
But then those who are enjoying life and feeling fulfilled and having the experiences, life is not long enough. We can't live long enough. Like, I have a goal to live to 122 because I want to experience what life has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be anything you want. Like, that's the beauty of it. It could be, you can be and have anything you want. Everything is already here. Again, go back to our previous episode and we talk about this. Like, internet has always been here. The airplane has always been here. The car has always been here. It just was once a thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was once a thought, and the observer had the thought and brought it into existence.
Yeah.
Just like your baby, right? You had a thought of having a family, and now you created a baby.
Yeah. And the coolest thing too, when you think about it, like, age is just a mindset too.
Yeah, that's all it is.
So if you're thinking about your life and wherever you are in your life right now, at whatever age, you're only as old as you feel, as you put out there to feel. Because, like, as an outsider looking at everyone else's life around me, there's some people in their 20s, 30s that their mindset makes them feel so much older, where they have the aches and they literally, like, think their body into an air quotation disease, older state. And then there's 90-year-olds that are walking the streets for exercise every day and doing yoga still and running marathons,
gymnastics.
Like it's
gymnastic bodybuilding.
Mindset's definitely an age. Everything age is a mindset. Yes.
The only expiration date is your body. Your body is the only thing that doesn't last. Your mind is infinite, right? Like, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I do. I believe that we've lived more than one life. I've done a lot of research on it. I do believe that we are all connected as one, and that we are created in God's image. Therefore, we are the highest creator, and we are here to create, and we keep coming back to create. But because there's a beginning and an end of all creating, the great secret is the controlled imagination. Right? It's the controlled imagination. But somewhere along the line, when we got to school, we were told to pay attention and follow this curriculum, because this is the way of the world. So then we followed that curriculum all throughout elementary school, then high school, then we're told to go to college, then we're told to get married, then we're told to have kids, then we're told to buy a house, then we're told to consume a reasonable debt so that we can get through life, and then we're told when we can retire, and then we die. Who created these fucking rules?
I was gonna say
somebody who used their imagination. You are living out somebody's goals that they wrote down.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else's imagination.
Yeah.
Is in turn creating your life, because you're accepting their imagination that made their rules as your own.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You are accepting it.
Yeah.
You believe that to be true. That's how you have to live life.
Yep.
Why do you believe that? Have you ever looked at the beliefs that you have in life and actually thought, is this my belief or somebody else's?
Where do they come from?
Right? Are you the things you're doing in life right now? Do you believe you have to do those, or are you just doing them because you've been told this is how you're supposed to, and then over time you just believe that that's how it's supposed to happen? Or do you truly believe that that's how it has to happen?
Why do you eat the food that you like to eat? Why do different cultures have different types of food? Why don't we all eat all of that type of food? It's because it's passed down to you, just like your beliefs are. So Neville Goddard says that the greatest gift can be given you than to be the truth that will set you free. The truth that sets you free is that you can experience in imagination what you desire to experience in reality. And by maintaining this experience in imagination, your desire will become an actuality. And it has. You dreamed of the house. You got the house. You wanted the job. You got the job. You wanted to go to university. You went to university. You wanted to get married. You got married. So you did the things that we were told to do, right? Like back in the day, marriage was an exchange, right? It was an exchange of the woman for the land, right? It was an exchange. But marriage, because of our beliefs of soulmates and finding one person to spend the rest of your life with, became a belief. We now all do that, right? So you can believe that you want to be a multimillionaire philanthropist who delivers clean drinking water to countries that will never experience what it's like to have clean drinking water, if that's what you want to imagine. Because what happens is once you start imagining it and you start doing the daily activities that move you into action, that's when everything starts to change. Because you need to have the application of the knowledge to get there and the repeated daily efforts. And that comes from using your imagination and using your mind.
Mm-hmm. And it's so true. And I love how what you said at the beginning of this episode, Sarah, that the truth that sets you free is you. Like you are the truth.
Yeah. But we always look outside of us.
Yeah.
What job can I get? During the pandemic, how many people went back to school because it has been drilled in our head that if we go back to school, we get a job? Well, look at all the people who went back to school. You think there's going to be jobs because of the pandemic? Like jobs are closing because of the pandemic, but you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars to go learn a skill in hopes that there will be a job when the pandemic is over. You create your own jobs. You create your own economy. It's not outside of you. It's not your neighbor. It's not your mom. It's not your spouse. It's you. You create it. A lot of people, we think that money comes from our employer. The only place that makes money is the mint. Okay? That's the only place that makes the money. Money comes through your employer. So money comes through any exchange because it's just an exchange. It's an exchange of service. That's why when you go to the grocery store, you are exchanging your money in turn to feed your body. That's all it is. So if you have a skill, there's 7-year-olds out there making like hundreds of dollars a day cleaning up dog shit. Like you can make money any which way you want. There's people out there who don't want to fold laundry. You can go make money out there folding somebody else's laundry at 3 or 4 different houses. Right? There's money is already here. It's just an exchange of service.
Yeah, and I the best advice that I've given a few people is that find what you love to do because there is a need for it. Right? We don't want to go through our lives doing something that we don't love. Why do we settle for that? Find something you love to do and do it as a living.
Yep. Exactly. You like to knit, you like to color, you like to paint, you like to do wood. Like the possibilities are endless out there. I'm buying presets, color presets off of Etsy to make my photos look better in my business, right? Like somebody just created that. keychains. Look at all the water bottles that people are creating. You can create, you can do anything you desire. Oh, Lauren. So Neville Goddard says you are limited only by your uncontrolled imagination and lack of attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When the imagination is not controlled and the attention not steadied on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, then no amount of prayer or invocation will produce the desired effect. When you can pull up at will, whatsoever image you please. Like, that's the key. If you can pull up an image of your mind of being on the beach or on the yacht or in the plane or at home or meditating or reading or barbecuing, whatever it is that you want to do, if you can pull it up at will, then when it forms in your imagination, they're so vivid that if it forms in nature, that is when you are the master of your fate. So if you're continuously bringing up the image of how am I going to pay this bill, bringing up the image of how am I going to buy this, bringing up the image of how are we going to afford this, bringing up the image of how are we going to pay off this, if you keep bringing up that image, that is the reality that you continue to create over and over and over again. So I'm just going to leave you with this. Neville Goddard, The Power of Awareness. This is where we're getting this information from. We've been studying this. Visions of beauty and splendor forms a long-lost race, sounds and faces and voices from the fourth dimension of space. And on through the universe boundless, our thoughts are lightning shod. Some call it imagination, and others call it God.
So good, Sarah.
Oh, Lauren. Lauren's imagining a bottle right now, so she's going to manifest that. And Kaily, we'll talk to you on Thursday. Have a good one, guys.